Welcome everybody to Saves Together, the podcast about playing games together, whether that means co-op or passing the controller back and forth or just playing the same game at the same time. It doesn't matter how, it only matters that it's together because
when you save together, you stay together.
This is episode 61, and today we're talking about Haven, which means it's the honorary episode 69. That's what we decided.
Right.
Because this is the sex game.
This is the sex game.
But
the sexiest game we've played on this show, I would say.
Is it the sexiest game or is it the most sex in a game?
Both.
I don't know if it's the sexiest game because I feel like...
What do you think was the sexiest game?
I mean, like Monster Hunter, like
no.
Sometimes there's some like...
There's nothing sexy about Monster Hunter.
I'm just saying, what? Those people are nice looking. Or like, I just feel like there's more...
Being nice-looking characters doesn't mean it's a sexy game. You know, it's
so
about
that's
the vibe.
why I think you're conflating sex in a game versus sexy game.
Okay, well then argue with me about what's a sexier game that we've played.
Lovers in a Dangerous Space-Time.
No,
they're in
that's
tight
not
quarters.
A sexy game at all.
They're literally out in space. The little square wants to kiss on the little rectangle.
I'm not sure if you know what sexy means anymore.
I don't think I do because I thought this was the sex game, and then
it's
was both.
Like, it's both.
Yeah.
It's not okay. I'm not saying it's so sexy of a game. I'm saying it's the sexiest game on
I think it's
our podcast.
The most sex game. It's not the sexiest game.
Then what's the sexiest game?
Let me run through the memory banks. Divinity.
You know, I thought of that too.
Moving out, you move a bed together. That's pretty.
So you're just making jokes. You're not actually thinking of what's sexy.
Okay, all right, hang on. I can't remember 60 freaking games right now. Hold on. There has to be a game that was like more
why does there have to be a more sexy game?
This one wasn't so sexy. I hesitate to give it the award.
I'm not saying that it's very powerfully sexy. I'm just saying it's the most sexiest out of very many unsexy games that we've played.
Marvel Ultimate Alliance
Definitely
3 there's some hot people.
That doesn't mean it's sexy.
I'd let Iron Man unibeam me.
You let Iron Man what?
I'd let him unibeam me.
Unibeam you?
Yeah.
I can't believe you remember the name of the power.
Who doesn't remember Iron Man's unibeam?
Me.
Oh. Let's stop talking about this for now, and instead let's talk about what we've been playing in our solo time. So, Grace, what have you been playing in your solo time?
Let me
get out my notes.
Let me just look back at my journals. I just want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything.
Grace draws after she beats a game in her bujo, or is it that's not the bujo? That's just the JoJo.
That's the bujo.
That's the bujo. Okay, she draws
JoJo.
the game logo to like commemorate beating it, and that's so cool. And I really wish I was that dedicated.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Greg.
So I don't know.
You're so welcome.
I don't know if I talked about Atelier Ryza 2. I think I did. I don't need to talk about it much.
Because I think I remember us touching on the sex appeal sexiest game award.
See, I wouldn't call Atelier Ryza very sexy either.
But
okay, it's pretty tame.
I can't remember if we talked about it on the air.
Ryza's sexy, but the game is not.
Right.
That's the conclusion we came
to. Sexier game than this, because I don't find... Actually, that's not true. Moving on.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about... I played a couple games. One of those is Omori, which is the Omocat game that she kickstarted back in, like... I really want to say 8 years ago or something. I didn't know about it back then. I didn't kickstart it. I just found out about it recently.
Was it really 8 years ago? And is that before Undertale?
Before Undertale was kickstarted? Probably not.
Like, because you were telling me it's a lot like Undertale, but then are you now telling me it came out?
I am only saying that
developed before Undertale?
I don't think it's a lot like Undertale. I just mean it reminds me of Undertale in that it is an RPG made in Game Maker, and it kind of tries to touch on deeper topics of emotion and play with character and play with expectations, I think. Cool. So that's why it reminds me of Undertale. I don't think I don't think either one borrowed as far as game mechanics go. Definitely not.
Okay.
It's a great game. I beat it. I really liked it. It's pretty long. It's not like terribly long. I think I beat it in like a week and a half.
But they want you to play it again, right? You beat it and then
there's like another route you can take that's like not the true route, I guess you would say. And I don't need to play it again. I think that Undertale, you have more of a reason to do such a thing, but in this game you really don't, unless you like are desperate to see every little bit of content, which maybe you are, and there are people that are desperate to see that content. So I think it's a good game, so you should check it out. It's on Steam. If you like games like Undertale and RPGs. It's a horror, like a psychological horror sort of game.
Do you find it scary?
I found it scary. I had a nightmare the day after I beat it, which I thought was pretty like, okay, like
Wow.
it got to me in a little bit. It wasn't like, I'm not like scared in the way like Last of Us was kind of like frightening, and sometimes it was more scary. Psychological horror is exactly the perfect thing to describe it, because when you think of psychological horror, it's the kind of thing that just kind of gets under your skin, and you feel like existential about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what's the scariest dream you've ever had?
Oh, I don't know. The scariest dreams I have are usually about the apocalypse. Like things will be normal, and then all of a sudden the world starts to end, and I'm like running from a meteor. I don't know. I hate those dreams. They really freak me out.
Sounds like your JRPGs have messed you up.
I don't know. Maybe they have. I also recently beat Bloodstained on the Switch, which I don't recommend playing on the Switch. But I actually really liked the game. It just crashed so many times.
So it's still not run.
It's still not running. It
Still
runs fine most of the time. There's like places where the FPS drops, but most of the time it runs fine. It's that it crashes. It seems like there's a memory leak situation. I think I remember reading about that. So it still has troubles. I still liked it. I liked the game.
And you are not a Castlevania person.
No, but I'm realizing I am.
Right. Well, yeah, you didn't come to this because you love Castlevania. You came to this first, and now you might go back to Castlevania.
Well, I'm realizing, like, I played Hollow Knight, I played Ori and the Blind Forest. I really like these kinds of games, like Metroidvania games. And the other day, my brother was like, maybe there'll be a Metroid announcement at the Nintendo Direct. I'm like, who cares about Metroid? He's like, you probably should. I was like, yeah, you're probably right, but I've never played a Metroid game, so maybe I will one day. And then I just started Slime Rancher, which is really fun and like a chill game. Oh, and I'm playing Fallout New Vegas too. So there's a lot of games.
You got a lot on your plate, dude.
Fallout New Vegas is pretty fun. I never really played through a Fallout game because when I was a kid, they really scared me. My brother played them, but I got chased by a bug and I was like, I'm good. And I never played it. And why are you laughing?
Just the weirdest things. Like, it's not a scary game in any way. Like, creepers are the scariest thing you've ever faced in a video game.
What's
and it's just,
scary?
I can't get over that.
It's not that the bug or the creeper is scary. It's the way they move. Like in Fallout, the way
that
things
lizard
run
thing
at
that attacked you was scarier than the bugs have been.
The way the things run at you and the speed and in which they are silent. I think it's the fact that there's not a lot of noise that alerts you to when things are in the room. Same thing with creepers. Like, I hate that. It really freaks me out. Like, I really rely on my ears. So I don't like that.
Interesting. That's like, I'm sorry if it comes across like I'm making fun of you about this, but I just can't comprehend. Like, what is scary about this? You know it happens. You know it's in the game. But then
I don't like
all
being
the time
chased
you're like,
also.
I know. Like, so there's like a funny, there's like a thing you have with being chased. And again, I don't, it's not that big a deal, but it's like, what happened to you that being chased in a game is your worst nightmare?
What happened to you?
Being chased in a game and not in like a spooky, I'm gonna get you. It's just like something's coming at you now, so now you're scared.
Okay, well, it depends also how much power I feel I have. So
Did
now
you get
that I've
attacked
been
by
playing,
a goat or something as a kid?
No, a goat
a lot of kids have
ate
that
my
story.
Sweater. Like when a goat rammed them or something?
Yeah, like it charged them and then they ran and they were scared.
Did
you like try to touch an elk and then an elk charged at you?
No.
A caribou?
When I feel like now that I've been playing Fallout for a little bit, I'm like not scared at all. It's just I have to feel I have the power. I don't know. I also don't like atmospherically scary places and apocalyptic. Like I said, I have apocalypse dreams. Apocalyptic environments freak me out. So
why do you think some people like me idealize that? I don't know if that's the right word. Fantasize about, like, that's the fantasy world I would like to live in a post-apocalyptic.
I think
it's probably
you're
a power
the real
thing.
freaks. Like you're the ones that can't deal with the world we're living in today, and so you fantasize about an alternate world
where
in which
I can rise. And I can be the top dog.
You joke, but I really think that's
actually.
it. It's like, oh well, in this world you succeed.
Well,
in
it's
that
like it's like a hard reset where I can form a coalition of people and we can come together. Like I don't need to be King Craig though. That does have a nice ring to it. But
you remind me of like those preppers from high school that had like the clubs based all around like, what would we do if the zombies came?
I want to make a movie, and now that I say this,
people.
I guess it's mine for like dibs. I'm making this, but I want to make one where
that's not how that works.
It's a short film. Sorry, I called
you
dibs.
shouldn't tell people, by the way, what you're about to say.
If whatever, I don't care. It's a short film, so let's say it's 15 minutes. 10 minutes or more are spent with those types of kids prepping and talking about how good they're going to do and how they're going to survive and making the plan. And like the last 2 minutes is them dying first. Like, I just think that's there's something to that.
There might be.
There definitely is.
Okay.
You have no faith in me, my
I wouldn't buy the pitch yet, but
Why? That's
we'll
funny.
work on it. We'll work on it.
Because that's the type of kid that would absolutely die first. Like,
Maybe I feel like it's too predictable. I feel like I would see that coming.
Well, because I told you the ending. But if you were just watching this movie called The Prepper Boys, and then you just following them gathering...
and it's the Prepper Boys, huh?
There's no girls allowed.
Definitely not buying this
pitch. It's the Prepper Boy He-Man Woman Hating Club.
Well, in that case, I'm glad. See, that actually might be a better movie, because then I'd be rooting for them to die first.
Maybe the women come and kill them first.
Oh, that's the real twist. Okay, well, why don't we talk about what games you've been playing recently?
Okay, well, I've been delaying doing that because I really haven't been playing anything.
That's okay.
I'm just waiting for Monster Hunter and Persona Strikers.
Next Tuesday, Persona 5 Strikers, very exciting.
Right.
By the time this comes out, it will have already been out. So
that's true. I have been bouncing between tons of stuff. Like I just play an hour of this, an hour of that. So I'm not going to reference them all, but I played some more Descenders, which is a downhill mountain biking game. I'm pretty sure I've probably talked about it on this show before, but I'm back at it. I like that game. It makes me really, really miss downhill domination on PS2, and I'm going to go buy one on eBay right after we finish recording.
Great.
The only other thing I've been playing, I've been putting a lot of time into for some reason, and I'm
Animal Crossing?
I'm a little bit embarrassed. Oh, I've been playing some Animal Crossing.
I was going to say, you've been playing a lot of Animal Crossing.
But that's not that surprising. I've been kind of still playing that.
Can't believe I'm still playing Animal
I know,
Crossing.
that's why it won. That's what I'm saying. It's like, it is pretty surprising
I'm not still
that I'm
playing
playing.
it, but
You're
congrats
not, but
on still playing it.
But no, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links, the mobile game. I'm not even a Yu-Gi-Oh! person.
You love that game.
But like, it's kind of cool. I think Yu-Gi-Oh! Itself, maybe not the best card game, but for some reason, if you're gonna play Yu-Gi-Oh!
I used to collect the cards when I was a kid, and I liked the ones that were shiny. I didn't know how to play. Same thing with Pokemon. I collected Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. I had absolutely no idea how to play the game. I did not care.
Yeah, I know that I'm like a Magic purist, and I think Magic is one of the greatest trading card games. So when I start a new one, I'm always comparing it to Magic and like looking down my nose. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Feels to me, at the place I'm at right now with it, it feels to me like you win if you have the better card guaranteed. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, or maybe the strategy comes in a little later. But where I'm at now, it's like you just put the biggest monsters in your deck and you probably are going to win.
Right. That's no fun.
I mean, it's still kind of fun though.
Well, that's good. As long as you're having fun, doesn't matter how good the game is.
Right. But this mobile version, I guess they shrink the field. Usually you have like 5 lanes, and there's only 3. And there's a Yu-Gi-Oh! On Switch that's like not the same game. It's not Duel Links. It's a different Yu-Gi-Oh! Game.
Are you going to get it?
I might. But I don't know, because like I said, Persona's very close, and then Monster Hunter. So I don't need it yet, but it's on my list of
Monster Hunter
someday.
Is a month away, basically.
I've not stopped. I'm just bouncing, waiting for that game since, when did they announce it? Whenever they announced it, I've just been like excited and not been able to play anything because I'm waiting for that.
I see.
Which is not a good, I'm not happy
bad.
about that.
It's fine.
No, it's not fine.
Okay.
Help me.
Well,
I need help.
Play Ace Attorney. I'm buying it. I got it today. So good game.
I might.
You really should start that.
So what is this thing you got? This is...
I got the Ace Attorney trilogy for the Switch. I reminded myself I haven't owned Ace Attorney games since the 3DS or the DS, and so I was like, oh my gosh, I should really have this. But they didn't sell a physical copy in the West. They did sell a physical copy in Japan, and the Japanese version has an English subtitle option. So best of all the worlds, I'm gonna have that today. It's coming today. I'm very excited. I want
to check that out. Is this now? So like, what games is in this thing?
It's the first 3 Phoenix Wright games.
And do I have to play them in order?
You should, yes.
Okay.
And it's they're all worth playing. They're not that long. There's like 5 cases in each, and each case is like a couple hours. It's really not, I don't really know, but it doesn't feel super long. It's a good amount of time. It's fun. It's really fun. If you haven't played the Ace Attorney games, I recommend it. They're great. I mean, they're visual novel, but they're also like puzzle. So mystery solving, like courtroom case stuff. It's really interesting. Really nothing like it, honestly.
I always compared it to Layton in my brain.
It's so much better than Layton. I hate Layton, dude. Layton is
Professor
straight
Layton's
up
cool.
puzzles. I'm too dumb for
love
that.
Layton.
I'm
I'm too smart for Layton.
This game relies more on just like logicking it out. So this game sometimes falls into the pitfall of where you are with Phoenix. So like, are you with him the whole time? Then you're doing great. If you're ahead of him, you can fail because you'll be thinking too far ahead, and then you'll present the wrong evidence, and he doesn't understand what you're thinking. If you're behind him, he's smarter than you, and you're like, I don't know, how did you figure this out? I don't know. It's really interesting. You'll see what I mean when you play it, because you really have to be on the same level of him.
Yeah, I'm gonna play.
It's interesting.
Something about this. It's jiving with me right now. I'm like,
yay! I'm excited because I love those games.
Hey, what do you think about putting that guy in Smash Brothers?
That would be cool. I would love that. I mean, I have no idea what he would do, but that's what's interesting, the goofiness
Doesn't he
of
point
it.
at people?
He does point at people. He says objection, so
I feel like
he would
pause
do that.
the whole field, objection! And then like, it's kind of like
of course
interrupt.
He would do that.
Yeah. That's probably his ultra bash. What's it called?
His final smash. Yeah. Ultra bash, final smash.
That's probably his though, right? He wouldn't do it in the middle of...
Right.
What kind of thing? Does he carry the gavel? No, that's a judge, right?
That is the judge.
Well, I don't know. We could figure it out. He's got a briefcase. He smacks people with a briefcase.
Yeah, exactly.
And he probably kicks.
Can pull out
he looks
evidence.
Like he could kick.
He can pull out evidence to use as weapons.
Yeah. Kirby's charging at him, and he pulls out like a cupcake wrapper. He's like, "You ate it!" And then like, it's relevant to who he's attacking. I was
thinking like the statue you would beam like that, like that someone killed someone with. Like you have that statue, and then you just start beaming someone in the head with it.
Yes, I think this would work, and they should do it.
Okay.
Speaking of things working and doing, and doing it, get it?
Speaking of doing it, let's talk about Haven.
Let's talk about Haven. Developed by the Game Bakers and published by the Game Bakers.
They baked this game.
I like that name. How do you feel about the name The Game Bakers?
Love it.
Haven was released on December 3rd, 2020 for the PC, the PS5, the Xbox, the Xbox family of consoles. And then February 4th, 2021, it came out for Switch and PS4. So there's a way for you to play this.
It came out on PS5 first?
Hell yeah.
Interesting.
Next gen, baby.
We played it on Xbox, by the way.
We played it on Xbox because it's on Game Pass. And that I want to talk about
so many Game Pass co-op games.
I know. Which is funny because by the time this comes out, it might be gone.
Like, if you are people that play co-op games in your household and you have an Xbox, you should have Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's
I think if you have an Xbox, you should have Game Pass.
Right.
I can't picture a world where I have an Xbox without Game Pass anymore.
It's expensive for some people, you know? I get it.
Okay, if you can't, you can't. But if you're going to buy a single game, you're just buying one more game and you've paid for it.
It's a pretty great library. It's shockingly good library, and they add a lot of games.
But I will say, stuff coming off of it, I understand.
That makes me sad.
I understand totally why that happened, but it was a bummer that I wanted to go play Jump Force the other day just for fun, and it's not a game I want to actually buy. But then, like, I couldn't. Yeah, I knew it was on there because I had played it on there before, and now it's not. You know, but hey. Shit happens.
If you like a game, then you should buy it also.
That's
I know
true.
I know you didn't want to buy it. I'm just saying, like, it is a good way to kind of demo things in some cases.
Right. Speaking of Game Pass and this game being on it, I got a notification from the Game Pass app on my phone. It said, celebrating anime games this month. Check out these Sugoi video games.
Sugoi!
And I was like, what? And I looked through it. But they had Haven on there.
Oh, that is Sugoi.
But
not an anime video game
whatsoever. Not an anime video game in any way. It just has color.
French-Canadian anime, you know.
French Canada. What kind of genre? What's the genre of Haven, would you say? They call it a role-playing game all across the internet.
Man, that's debatable.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call this, I mean, role-playing as in you're playing a role, sure. It's kind of an RPG in that, like, you have inventory, you level up, but the level up is very
It's so
limited.
Rigid and structured that it's not a role-playing game. If you're going to argue...
I call it an action-adventure game. It's very much more an adventure game.
It's like a turn-based adventure game.
It's not turn-based at all.
Well, it's real-time turn-based.
Sure.
What's that called? Sure. Real-time action?
Real-time action. Real-time turn-based.
You're selecting your attacks, but monsters are attacking on their own time.
Yeah, you know, Final Fantasy VII style.
It's select an attacker
Select an attacker.
Select an attacker combat turn.
It's a very strange combat system.
Yeah, I guess it's a role-playing game, but like at the bare minimum.
Yeah,
you know?
bare bones role-playing, more of like an action-adventure kind of game. Very,
What are you doing? Can you explain?
What am I doing?
Kind of the gameplay. Yeah, what are you doing, Grace? When we're playing this, what is it besides just a bare bones attacker?
It's one part's exploring and sort of gathering items to like manage your inventory, manage your hunger and health, and then one part combat against these creatures, and then one part sort of just like living this story out with these two characters and going through their daily lives and figuring out what's going on in the world around you.
Bare bones visual novel. Kinda,
like at the I know that's just tier. The role playing part of it. You have your story. It's not. I wouldn't call it a visual novel at all.
A big part of the game reminds me of ToeJam and Earl, where you're exploring fractured land environments to find your spaceship parts.
That's interesting.
Very similar. We've never done ToeJam and Earl, but we have
it. We started playing it and we just stopped. I would totally play it again.
I would like to.
That's one we should keep in the backlog in case we ever need one.
We could probably do a quick save on it. We could just play through it and then do a quick save.
For sure.
But you kind of live together on. You don't live together, by the way. You
live.
The players do not live together. The characters that the story you're seeing live together, which is like a key thing here, which is why I have a problem with calling it a role-playing
Arguably,
game.
you don't each play as one of the characters, you're playing as the couple.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting distinction and one that I'm surprised they made.
And we'll get into what that means in a little bit here when we start talking about controls and whatnot. But I don't know. But you're witnessing their story. And we're going to try not to talk about any story stuff because that's kind of...
Yeah, we're not going to spoil the ending or
only
the
thing
plot.
Here.
And I don't really think it's necessary to talk about.
No.
Anyway. It's interesting. The ending actually... we had an interesting experience with the ending. Should we talk about that?
I don't think we should. No, I would just play it and see what happens to you when you play.
And we won't spoil
because something happened to us and we were like, wait.
The fuck? Yeah, we won't talk about it.
What's the co-op category here at Saves Together? We have these types of co-op, so we can kind of...
Well, you wanted to call it accomplice.
Dude, that's all it is, if you ask me. It's only accomplice. The damage stacking part of it is kind of nothing.
I think it's a high grade accomplice. This is my new quality on accomplice. High grade meaning it's it almost makes it to not being accomplice, but it still becomes accomplice, especially in the overworld when you're traveling along. When you're not in combat, it feels like accomplice. When you are in combat, it's more like a damage dealing game.
But barely, because I guess to me...
But it's even. It's evenly spread. It's not like one person has more power in the combat. It's just weirdly done.
It's not... I mean, I guess on a technical level, yeah, it's the damage dealing thing where we both hit the monster, so the monster gets hit harder, right? More damage.
It's not teamworker because we have the same exact roles.
Right. But like, it's not anything like a Monster Hunter or Dynasty Warriors or something where...
Well, have we...
I don't know. The only option, I guess what it is, the only option is for these two characters. They're always going to be attacking as two players, as two characters.
Uh-huh.
I just happen to be picking the attacks for one of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not coming in here to help you.
How do you play single player?
The A and the down are the same. The B and the left are the same.
Okay, so you guys just attack together?
You're doing both attacks with both thumbs.
Okay.
So in the attack, we'll just touch on this quick. When you're in combat in this game, I'm only using the left, the D-pad on my thing. That's all I'm using to select attacks. And all you're using is the face buttons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you weren't using face buttons?
No. So that's why I would then, if you're playing single player, you're using both thumbs, one on the D-pad, one on the buttons.
To be specific, I played as you, Y-U, and that's the name of the character, and then you played as K, yes. K-A-Y. U and K.
U and K.
Which were interesting choices for their names.
Yeah.
We made many a joke on that note. Okay, so that's the combat.
It's accomplice, though, I think.
I think it's, it rides the line for sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying about, like, the fact that if you're here or not doesn't change my combat. You and K are always attacking the monster. You didn't come in here as you two.
I see. So I guess your example would be in Monster Hunter, if only one person is there.
It's just you doing the damage.
That's the only damage. Okay, fine. That's
Like you're
a
just
fair
helping be my
comparison.
left thumb.
Right,
That's all.
you're filling in that character where sort of similarly to okay, well, I don't we're gonna do an episode on this, but Bowser's Fury kind of situation. Like where it's just like that character's gonna be there regardless and help. But you're just filling in, so it's accomplice.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I didn't know we were making that distinction as far as the difference between damage dealing and accomplice, but I like it.
I think that's a key component.
Because you're not stacking damage. The damage is actually the same. It's just that you're the person dealing the damage, so you feel like you're playing a part. We are playing a part, you know, but it's just it's definitely better than an accomplice game in which you don't deal damage.
Oh yeah.
But it's still an accomplice.
It's a good
It's shocking to me that Haven is an accomplice game.
Right.
It
And
doesn't feel right.
That's what I wanted to ask. I almost want to say, should we pause real quick and watch a trailer? Because, listen, I feel a little bit lied to. Not necessarily lied to so much as what they claim this thing is, because all the advertising surrounds the greatest co-op relationship game you could play on Valentine's.
Well,
co-op
let's
relationship
not quote.
game.
Let's not quote things we don't know. These aren't in quotes. He's just paraphrasing.
It gets brought up a lot.
That's how you
as
feel
a great
about
co-op game.
what they advertise to you, and that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely on a list of Valentine's games you should play.
Some parts of it definitely feel like they shouldn't be co-op,
And
like the moving.
Dude, almost all of it.
It's weird. It's very weird.
It's weird.
For it being a game that we thought was supposed to be co-op. Like was supposed to be made for co-op. It does not feel that way when you play it. It's so strange. Like it's not what I wanted out of it at all.
Exactly.
I thought it would be a kind of game where you got to explore your relationship through their relationship.
Yes.
And that's not what you did.
And instead you explored a mostly mediocrely written relationship.
I thought the relationship was written pretty well.
I guess it's the ending where I was like, wow, you guys are... I don't know.
Wow, you just spoiled the ending.
I'm going to cut that out.
Yeah, you have to cut that out. You don't need to talk about that. I think it's well written.
I don't think it's... A lot of the little side stuff that goes on, like when they play with the little toys they find together and things like that, I think is written well because it feels like how real people would talk in a relationship. But there's like, to me, it never challenged my opinion on love and couples and working together or anything.
Oh, no, right. I agree with you. I don't think it was challenging in any way.
Yeah.
But I think I thought it was.
Is challenging
right?
the right word? You know what I'm saying, though?
I know, it is the right word. It wasn't like making you think deeper on what a relationship means and what it is.
It was just kind of like watching a story.
It was watching it play out without feeling like there was much at stake when the story was telling you there was. I don't feel like we thought you didn't really care too much. I mean, I guess that's not true because at the end you do care. So I don't know. It's complicated. I think mostly it's written pretty well. So if you're going in for that, I think you'll get something out of it.
I think there's something to be seen here. I think there's something to this.
Yeah.
But
I do think
it's not quite, I guess, what I thought or wanted.
As a co-op game, I don't think so. I think it'd be funner as a single player game or just as fun, frankly. It's not like it was less fun because it was co-op. Well, sometimes it was.
A little bit, but also there were a couple of things the co-op does that I wish more things would do. And there's
like what?
Subtle hints to...
there's one thing. I like that when you both have to agree to skip the dialogue.
I like that you both have to agree to skip dialogue. That's really
but it glitched out all the time, and it just sometimes skipped when only one person did it. I don't know if that was a glitch, or, I mean, that's a weird... it must have been some sort of bug.
That must have been a bug.
Yeah. But I like the idea of how, like, when you're reading through, text, both people have to say okay. Like, I wish every game had that feature for co-op.
That's the things I was going to talk about were, like, half-baked ideas that didn't quite make it, but that's one that actually did make. That's great.
I've never played a game like that in co-op, and I think that
one.
that's awesome.
Selecting the text that the character is about to say. You both have to select the same one. Now, because we aren't actually playing characters, even though it presents it like you're going to be, it's fine, because you're both going to decide on where the story's going.
Right.
But it's sort of presented as if, like, I'm supposed to be selecting what Kay says, and you're going to select what you says.
That's what we want it to be.
Which is what I wanted.
Right.
But I think there's something to be said for, and again, this is a different game now, because we finished this and we realize this isn't what it is, but I think there's a relationship building / testing thing that could happen with you have to select the same text box. You know what I mean? Like,
right. You two have to decide together what someone should say in this situation and how the other person should respond.
Exactly. I don't know.
That is interesting.
I don't know what that fully is. but it's on the tip of my tongue.
We definitely did not play it like that.
No,
maybe we should have.
We just let each other. But I guess you could have. But it just kind of felt like, why is this in here?
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
You both have to select to move forward. I guess is all it is. The same way you both have to select to skip. This is probably just you both have to select to move forward. Mm-hmm. Is the whole point. But it felt like, based on my incorrect understanding of what this game was, that it should be deeper than it was. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, there's a lot of things that sort of feel like that to me. We'll end up touching on them. Let's talk about the factors. We've already started a couple of them, but let's start talking about factors here. What is the type of co-op? Couch, online?
It's only couch. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of people disappointed in that, by the way.
Yeah, but I mean, I get it, especially now. There's probably some couples that can't be together.
You get that people are unhappy about it?
Yes. Yeah,
oh, yeah. No, me too. I think it should be online.
And same screen. You're never split screened at all.
Which works fine most of the time. Because when you're traveling, there's only one person controlling the travel part. The other person has like a little bubble they use to pick up items, which is cool.
Very cool. I love that idea.
But sometimes the camera just goes a little haywire.
But it doesn't work all the time.
Yeah.
We'll touch on that in controls. Separate mode or full?
It's the full game.
Full game, and you just hit a button to.
And it's drop in, drop out.
Yeah.
So you can stop playing whenever you want.
Should we be worried about this thing kicking on? Okay, so naturally, it's cold outside, and right when we start to record, the radiators decide to start. So if you hear anything, I'm sorry. We're going to do our best. But let's continue talking about Haven. We just took a break while the radiators kind of kicked on to watch the trailer, like I said maybe we should do. What did you think rewatching that trailer?
I mean, it's hard because we've already played it. So it's like hard to divorce yourself from what you know now what the game is, and then watching that. Like,
I think visually the trailer tells a different story, but now that I've played it and I see all of it, I know exactly what I'm looking at. You know?
There's not a lot of information given as far as like what anyone's doing, because I mean, I guess you just assume that, especially in the overworld traveling, that the other person is moving their character when they're not.
Yeah. So have we even really explained that part?
Well, we're about to talk about control schemes, so we can talk about that now. But essentially, you know, when you're running around the world, first of all, you can either walk extremely slowly that they complain verbally about it every time you do, or you glide, like kind of fly essentially with the trigger button, which is mostly fun. Sometimes it can get a little bit stupid, like the way the characters will collide with the environment. All of a sudden you're stopping.
Yeah.
And then the person who triggers it first is the one controlling it. The other person can't move their character while this is going on, like at all.
You can move left and right, but it's kind of for nothing.
Right.
But the other person, so if you're flying, you're holding the trigger like it's a car, like a vehicle, right? And then moving your character, obviously. And then I can move with the right stick. I can move this little blob around on the ground, and it will automatically pick up ingredients.
Which is important.
Which is very cool. And that's one of those, I'm going to call it half-baked mechanics. I really like, oh, you know what? It's kind of nice to not have to...
It's really funny that you're calling them half-baked.
And they're the game bakers. I know.
You didn't fit. It's raw! It's raw! That's a really bad joke. I'm sorry.
But the little blob thing, picking up food and things to make other stuff back at the ship is awesome. But the moment you stop holding the trigger, I'm then controlling the camera. Because when we're not gliding, we have the same exact controls. Like, I can move the camera, I can pull the trigger, I can start healing stuff. It's really weird. So
the transition is awkward.
So sometimes you'll stop flying while I'm trying to get somewhere, or it does the thing like in shooting games when there's a turret and you are in the gun while the turret is mounted to a car and the car's driving. Some games have it where if my crosshair is here and you turn the car, my crosshair stays where it was. Some games have it where if you turn the car, my crosshair moves with the car, like relative to the car versus not. This game is like relative to the car. So when you move the camera, my blob is no longer where I wanted it. And I'll be like heading towards a patch of apple dews, which is one of the foods you can get. I'll be like 1 foot away from the apple dews, and then you'll turn. And I'm like, no, I wanted to get them. So as the second player, or as the person working in that slot, it was really unsatisfying because there's a lot of times where I was like, I was trying to do it. You know?
It's definitely, frustrating. And not just frustrating for the person not controlling the glide, but it can be frustrating also gliding just because, I don't know, it's just weird. Sometimes it's fun. Like, it was a fun idea.
Oh, yeah.
It feels good sometimes, but sometimes it's just like, I'm frustrated because I can't, because like trying to get into this little building and trying to touch this thing, I stop to get it, but my walk is so slow that I'm just like, it feels like you're crawling, but you can't really control it at such a tight, they really did not want you to jog. They only wanted you to fly.
Yeah. And the flying's cool. I just wish, I don't know, I wish we could both fly around and do tricks together if we had our own screen or something, or a split screen.
It would have been better like that. Like if you could go around the island on your own and collect rust separately.
Yeah.
If it was like online or something.
Like a more reasonable relationship where you don't have to be attached at the hip 24/7.
You know, it's interesting. It's almost like a commentary on their relationship because that is like a situation. Like these two are alone on this island. So
yeah.
It is like that is their relationship.
Why wouldn't you want to be alone for a little bit? Like
exactly.
Go,
so
I'm just gonna go like, hey, good morning. I'm gonna go.
In some ways,
harvest.
This game actually did have you reflect on relationships a little more because you're reflecting on that.
You're right, but it was in a way that the
game didn't intend. Probably
because I think the game writing wrote a not interesting relationship.
No, I think that what I'm saying is the game writing didn't intend for you to think about that, but it's the inadvertent. That's what it's saying, which is interesting in itself.
Sometimes as you're gliding around, my character will just fall off the level.
And then it will like mess with my thing too.
Yeah, and then like the camera will try to zoom out to compensate, or if I'm doing my little blob control, I no longer have blob control because my character's not on the world, so I can't. It's like, come on. Progression, things to unlock.
Really just levels, and it's more like collecting things.
Yeah,
you're not really unlocking things.
Very linear unlock path.
And there's not a whole lot to unlock.
Every time you level up, you're getting XP to level up, and when you level up, you always get the same boost. Like, we didn't pick to put it in speed or jump or whatever. The game decided for us.
Right. It's the same path every time.
Is part of why we call it the bottom tier or whatever we said role-playing game.
Like
it was kind of boring. It was like, well, I guess we can go level up. Doesn't really matter.
I also didn't like how at some point you just don't level up anymore because you're done. And it was like, well, I don't want to fight anything then. I don't like the fact that I'm fighting things and not getting anything for it. That's very frustrating as a person who plays games.
And
you want rewards for what you're doing.
Part of that, though, is that the combat. We didn't even touch. You know what? Let's talk about the controls of the combat. Maybe that's where we...
You talked about already the face buttons and the D-pad, but then controls, you mean maybe more like how the combat plays out?
Yeah, let's touch on that, because I think if it was more fun, you wouldn't have felt so bad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have wanted to avoid combat.
I think that there was fun aspects of it, but there was just too much unknown, too much the game didn't tell you, too little that you controlled. You could never control who you were targeting. The game sort of targeted monsters depending on what kind of move you were using. So you could either blast or do impact moves. Those are the two kinds of moves you could do. And so these creatures were susceptible to one or the other, or sometimes neither, and they needed to be stunned or whatever. So the game would kind of choose for you. The problem with that is I think in an ideal world that's perfect, but I think the problem with it is I don't think it's good to take control away from the player. I think that's really frustrating.
Yes, it felt like the game knows the optimal path. It knows the exact attack you should use on who. But I want to make that decision.
Yeah,
it's really boring to just be like, okay, blast, and you'll hit whoever needs to get hit.
Yeah, right. It feels a little bit like, why? It's almost like mobile game choices, when you have
something like that.
Limited controls, so you do what you have to just finish it quickly, But it doesn't... That just is a really strange choice.
And this is another one of those half-baked ideas where the combat was kind of interesting.
Yeah, sometimes it was fun. Sometimes we could work off of each other in a way that made sense. Yeah. And I could see what they were trying to do, especially when it came to the co-op in combat. That was the most co-op we were doing, was in the combat, where we were like, okay, you use this move and then I'll do this right after. Like, that's cool. There's a timing thing there. But the problem with the idea of timing your moves is when you have so little control over who you're hitting and when you're hitting them, it just feels like very frustrating.
Yeah, you sort of charge up the attack, and then when you let go, you'll do the attack. But if the auto-assigned target is in the middle of an animation, you won't attack yet, and then you'll get hit and you'll get knocked out of your attack. or
it just felt like there should have been also like an order of operations, like bar. Like a lot of RPGs will have like who's gonna hit next. Just give that to me, or like give me like a count. For these like real time turn based, there's a countdown. So it's like, okay, this guy's gonna hit in 3, 2, 1, and then you can time out when you're hitting your moves to that. Yeah. That's what there should be, because then you have more knowledge. But it really feels like they took all the knowledge away from you in combat, and it was just, we didn't even know for a long time if we could even change who we're targeting, because it didn't tell us. Like, okay, fine, you want to target Forrest, but can you at least let us know that we're not screwing this up? Mm-hmm. Like, that's very strange.
Yeah, it just needed, I wanted to know that my attack will take guaranteed 1 second. His attack will take guaranteed 2 seconds. I can get one off before he does, Yeah. And it doesn't let you do that. The co-op abilities, you can combine. It has complementary skills, kind of, sort of. If we both hold the same attack type, so if we both hold blast or we both hold impact, it's a tag team move. Mm-hmm. We fill our meter together, we let go together, and then a circle pops up and it spins. And if we let go at the right time, it does a boosted double attack. Awesome, awesome, awesome concept. It never changes. A lot of the time, it's useless. They don't play with the size of the attack timing very well, like when you let go the second time.
Right, it could be more fun if
there
you
could have been
way
more variables that, maybe your side is actually smaller sometimes because you've taken more damage, or play with that. There's something there. They
only play with it when you're hungry, which I think is funny.
It's smaller. Yeah.
I actually like that. Like the idea that like these two people are hungry, so they're like less liable to work together, so it's harder to work together. That's accurate.
And that's a very accurate commentary on a relationship.
True.
Listen, everybody out there, just eat. If you're starting to feel
just eat.
Just eat, and then come and circle back to whatever's happening.
It's true. It's very true.
But yeah, I don't know. The combat's not great. I wanted it to be. I really did.
Not quite there.
Shared loot or XP?
Everything's shared.
Yeah, except I wanted to ask you, when we're picking up ingredients, is it then only I have 7 apple dews and 6 gluten blutes, whatever they're called?
We just both have them.
We just all have them?
No. No.
So when you go to craft then, I only can pick between these two things, and you seemed to be able to pick between more things.
I think that's just because depending on the crafting ability, you can only craft between A and B. A being a group of these things, B being the group of all things.
And
you just had A.
Yes.
It's more just like, so that's back to being single player. Like that would be more of a single player kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just choosing between two groups of items, and you got the lesser group.
I thought the crafting
was fun. I enjoyed the crafting, yeah. You could craft medicines, items, and like meals, and each meal, if it was new, would give you like a cute little cutscene, and they would talk about it, which I liked. I liked that kind of thing.
Yep. The best parts of this game were the little side stories, or whatever we're going to call them. Little offshoot. You just watch you just witness a thing with real. A lot of that did feel like real romance, real relationships.
Yeah,
they just played a board game together, and they made jokes at each other, and then,
Right. I thought that was cute. Those were good. Those were nice little moments. So we had a couple like LOLs.
Yeah.
She said PP.
I mean, that was an LOL because it was gross, but
it was very stupid.
Yo, she at one point, listen, this generally we try to keep this for kids, but cover your ears. At one point, she makes him sleep in his own cum.
I did not think that's what you were gonna say. Okay, listen, that's not.
I didn't I kind of like that moment. I don't know why.
I can't believe we just said that, dude. Like, what the fuck?
But this game's not okay. Uncover your ears.
Change the sheets.
Uncover your ears. This game's not for kids.
That.
Not that it's not graphically
about
sex.
I think kids could play this and it'd be fine.
It would go over their head.
Yeah, there's like a moment when they're naked.
There's a lot of times where they're like, "You want to climb on top of me?" And then they animate.
But they're not specific.
They climb on top of each other. They're laying there shirtless. It's never graphic sex. It does not show the sex or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's pretty clear what's happening.
But I would say this isn't really like this is for adults.
It's on the line. I probably wouldn't I don't think a kid would be interested anyway. But right. There's definitely moments where like, oh, we talking about dicks now, okay, which is funny. I mean, like it's cool having a game that talks about that stuff when it's real pretty rare
adult way, like an adult relationship way, not a pornographic adult way, but like
right. I like it.
Yeah. Friendly fire.
No, not at all.
Nope. No, I don't think anything.
Yeah, nothing.
There's not really attacks other than in the turn-based combat anyways.
Right, and you can't target
as we
each other.
said, you can't target anything.
Right.
Interruptive actions.
Yeah, there's...
It's about 1.5 billion.
There's a couple.
I wrote down the fast forward button, which either of us can hit at any time.
That's frustrating because if you both agree to skip dialogue, like that feels collaborative, and then all of a sudden you can just skip through everything and I can't even choose.
Yep.
Like you should both have to choose to fast forward if you're gonna have both choose to dialogue skip. That's so funny. That's such a strange oversight.
I know. And then we'd come into these things where we know when we were doing crafting, there'd be a little cutscene that plays of them cooking or whatever. We would both know, well, we should hit fast forward for this. But then I would hit it, and then you'd hit it 1 millisecond
And
later,
then I would, like,
so
take it
it would go. Like, oh wait, and then we'd try to fix it, but we'd both try to fix it. It's like, okay, you just press it.
Very weird. Should have just had like an agree thing. And then there was the thing where you could like open your healing items in the overworld, and if someone was gliding, that would immediately stop them.
You can always hover above the ground, and like that's how you move around. But you can kind of jump onto these almost like a grind rail, sort of. And you follow this path through the sky, so you end up actually flying. But like you said, I could just hit the left bumper at any time.
Oh, you'd fall.
And that would knock you down.
It was very frustrating.
It was pretty funny to do, but very rude.
Very rude.
I touched on the camera when it's my blob is relative to your camera. That's pretty interruptive.
Camera is like an one because it's kind of hard to not have a camera that both people can move. But obviously, unless it's a
what
fixed
I mean
camera.
is okay, I guess I fall off the world just because you flew to a certain spot and now I can't do my part.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
interruptive
move my blob.
to you,
That's
for sure.
annoying.
Yeah. But even though I don't even control that, that's where it's just like the game's interrupting you.
Well, you
not
can
me.
Right.
I don't control whether your character falls off a cliff.
Correct. But what I meant about the camera part was if you turn your camera and I was trying to blob one direction, I'm no longer blobbing.
I'm no longer blobbing the way I wish.
I want to blob.
I know what you mean. You're right.
Hey, is this a pizza party game?
No.
I don't know, dude.
Definitely not.
Why do you say that?
What kind of fucked up pizza party are you going to?
One that's like with
We're getting
with
like
the
orgy pizza party? Like the pizza party where we're all gonna take our clothes off and roll around in the grease?
No, because that would have to be shorter games for less attendance. But what if you're
don't actually.
What if you're having a pizza party with your partner? What if you're with your loved one?
No, because it's not fun. It's not that fun. Honestly, it needs to be funner. Pizza party games need to be like we're rip raffing and roaring. I don't know what that means, but you know.
Oh, I know exactly.
Oh, you know what you're rip raffing and roaring.
It does.
I'm just making up words.
Complementary skill sets, though. Do you feel that
No.
Sort of really?
You think this is complementary skill sets?
It doesn't have it in the same way that I usually like. And my example is always bouncing Iron Man's attack off Captain America's shield. But the two attacks,
a little bit,
very little, and it's the best part.
Yeah,
it's the best part of the game, and they
almost get
it.
there in the combat, but then it's just like sometimes it's not really there, you know.
Right. Difficulty of the co-op.
It's not difficult. The difficulty in the combat comes from lack of knowledge, not from the co-op. The co-op doesn't make it difficult. It's just that we don't know what's going on. We don't know when they're going to attack. We don't know how we're supposed to attack. We don't know nothing. So
I would say overall it's an easy game.
It is an easy game. It's not meant to be hard. And they say that at the beginning too, by the way. They're like, it's normal difficulty is the highest difficulty, like, but you can make it easier, which is nice. Like, I'm glad they have that because there's some tough fights.
But
it wasn't that bad. Yeah.
Intensity. How intense is this game?
It's not intense at all. I don't think it was intense. I don't think
there's much intensity. Yeah. Even the most intense parts
like
towards the end.
Like a 3 out of 10.
Yeah.
2 out of 10.
2 out of 10, yeah. Competitiveness of the co-op.
No, I don't think it was competitive at all.
Built in, no, but you could. It was very fun to get the last pacify in combat.
Yeah, that was the one thing we made.
And that was just like, we need a word for that.
Who's going to press the button first?
Like a house rule. It's like house competitive. You know, you make it competitive, but it isn't built into the game at all.
I know what you mean. I'm just trying to think of a good word. I'd have to think of a catchy phrase, but that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because what's the house competitive factor almost, you know?
Right. Because
for us, you know, obviously it's different. It's going to be different for everybody. Anyone can make their own game at a game.
Right.
But sometimes a game lets you. It's easier
Sometimes
to
it's
do.
easier to do in a game. Like in this one, getting that pacify off is basically just letting go of the button faster.
House competition rules.
We'll workshop it.
Okay.
We'll circle back around. Strategy or tactics?
A little bit. Yeah.
Barely any. Because
we
it doesn't
know
work.
What did what? But yeah, it was difficult because we don't have the knowledge. When we tried to do strategy and tactics, it usually did not do very well. And we got very upset.
There is legitimately one fight only that went just like perfectly, and it was like, there, that's the secret sauce right there. Do this. Where we were surrounded by like 10 of the little guys that need to get impacted, and they each take 2 impacts and 1 pacify, right? So, do you remember this fight?
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, impact, I'll pacify, you impact. Okay, then I'll impact, now you pacify. And like we perfectly juggled the moves we had to get done.
Right.
And like that was so great. And I guess you could probably get there with every boss, or I mean every monster, but these are the only ones that had ever worked for us for.
Right. So we tried. I would say it's a good. We gave it an A for effort.
Yeah. And lastly, of our factors, communication.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think we communicated more than a lot of games.
Yeah, we were communicating like, where should we go next? What should we get? Did you see any more rust over there that we can collect? Which was like the corruption that you're trying to clear from each little island, which was a fun part. Was like clearing every island. We almost completed this game in a lot of ways.
Yeah, we came pretty
almost
close.
100%ed it. Communication and battle a little bit, but like I said, like we were talking about, it was just like a little bit for naught. But yeah, we communicated quite a bit.
I would say, looking back at it right now, thinking about it right now, this is a very we talked a lot about like, what should we do? What are you thinking? How you feeling? You know.
Yeah.
Which that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting.
It's not often, if you can't tell, we didn't like this game that much. It's not often that a game we didn't like also had a lot of cool communication.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Adventure Pals is one I think of a lot, where we weren't even talking. We were just sitting there playing with scowls on our face. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Do you have other things you'd like to talk about? Things we didn't really mention when we went through our factors?
I think the characters weren't very likable at the beginning, but they got more likable, but they never really reached a likability that I would have liked.
Yeah, I agree.
They should have been more, they just didn't get there for me. But I felt like it got close. There was some good writing. Like, we talked about how there was some fun little moments, and like, I liked that. I think there should be more co-op games about relationships. So I think shouts out, but good for them for giving us a shot, because I think this was a cool idea. It just didn't get there in a lot of ways, and I was disappointed in the way the co-op was structured. I just feel like it was a little bit of a, I don't know, a trick on me.
Yeah. And I don't think it's necessary. It's not.
Felt like a trick.
It's not. I don't feel deceived.
Right.
I just feel like, oh, this isn't what I wanted.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. A little bit of a disappointment for sure. But other than that,
hey Grace, what does confidence do?
Oh my fucking God. We never found out, did we?
No.
Wait, I need to Google this right now.
Yeah.
So every time one of our characters would say something, just if one of the options, certain options, sometimes it'd be like, you is more confident saying that thing. Usually the thing that was more a little aggressive.
It would be like, what should we have for dinner? And then the options are, oh, I don't know, and we're having spaghetti, right? And if you pick that one, it's like, you is more confident. If you pick the one that's, we're having spaghetti, right? You know? And we kept getting these confidence points. It says like, boom, more confident.
Okay, so I'm reading it on Reddit, and it says, all it changes is a detail that happens in the good ending. Not much of an impactful detail, really.
Fascinating. Don't say what it is. Let's talk offline.
No, it didn't even say what it was. I'm just curious.
What could that be? Must just be words, things you can select, maybe? Text you can pick later?
Maybe. So weird. I don't like that. Once again, taking knowledge from me, or not, like, at least not prompt, like, when you promise something like that, not delivering on it is a mistake.
This game, to me, felt like it was procedurally generated, and I do mean that in sort of a negative way. I don't think it was. I think we tried to look it up. It doesn't seem like it's a procedurally generated game, but a lot of the environments feel kind of uninspired.
I think you felt more that it because the fact that there was
you're fixing your ship, right? Is that what you're going to touch on?
Multiple parts, multiple ship parts around, which was weird. And so they would be like, "Oh, we already have this." So
right.
That was weird. I agree.
And it's like, so what? I was supposed to just find this. The game's not big enough that you wouldn't just explore every island, if you ask me.
Yeah, right.
Like, I think there were multiple ship parts so that you could stumble upon them in different spots when you're exploring.
Mm-hmm.
But there's only like 30 levels or whatever, small islands.
Right, it takes you like 5 minutes, less than that almost, to travel through or even explore all the way.
So why wouldn't you just do it everywhere? And then that means you're definitely finding duplicate things.
Weird choice. I didn't understand that. And they always commented on it. Like, well, if we ever need one of these, it's like, well, we don't. So why are we here? Like, at the very least, I don't think there should have been dialogue then. Just make it look like it was a random piece of debris. If that was the choice you were going to make, like, just don't have them comment. Because we were very weirded out by that. We're like, what?
Yeah.
What?
Right.
So, strange choices.
Any snacks you would suggest for this game? I feel like it's got to be sexy snacks. Whipped cream and strawberry.
Yeah, like a piece of cake. Like a little cheesecake. Sure. Little strawberry cheesecake.
Yeah, romantic
something
food.
Sweet and
wine.
Something...
Sit down with a bottle of wine. Wine. Sit down with a bottle of wine.
Wine
some fruit.
is such an unromantic word for what it is. You know what I mean? It just sounds like.
But what's the Italian word? Is it an Italian thing?
Vino. Vino is a much sexier word.
Yeah.
Vino. Yeah, and strawberry cake. Yeah. Strawberry shortcake or cheesecake. I just really like cheesecake right now, so that's why I'm saying cheesecake.
That's usually how these snack cabinet segments go.
Well, you know, I was also thinking of the meals they were making, and they they had some cakes, and the thing she liked the best was the fondue.
Oh, the fondue.
The creamberry fondue.
Dude, fondue is such a romantic, like,
is
I love
it though?
fondue, dude.
Why, dude?
I don't know, because you're dipping your food in each other's food.
I've never had fondue before.
You've got a big pot of cheese or chocolate or whatever.
I know what it is, pal.
I'm not saying you don't. I was just adding a little flavor to my to my anecdote here, and you're sharing that food. You know what I mean? Like, you're not digging from a community bowl and putting it on your plate.
Sounds disgusting if you ask.
I think it sounds sexy.
Sounds like germ sharing. It's like kissing, but using cheese as the
most cootie-filled meal you could possibly have.
True, that's true. So either fondue or cheesecake. I recommend not fondue.
I recommend fondue.
Cream-berry fondue.
How about a cheese fountain?
There you go.
I was gonna say chocolate fountain, but like cheese. I want cheese. Anything else?
That's it from me, honestly. No hats.
I'm excited. No hats, so it definitely loses.
The score's in trouble, you know.
This game could have used hats.
It honestly
all games, as you know, all games could use hats. Is there any game that
couldn't use a hat?
Maybe like
There's no game.
No, I can't think of one.
Last of Us.
Even then, though, like imagine she had a beanie with a little brrrr on the top.
A little whirly beanie.
They're slamming a bat into his head, and
Cowboy
he's got
hat.
like a. Oh, it should have realistic hats.
Yeah, like cool
cowboy.
Hats.
Wait, it has hats. Remember, you put hats on all the dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, there are hats there. Oh my god, dude! Game of the Year 2020. Clearly, it was. It had hats.
I'm excited to hear your rating. I have no idea what you're thinking.
Should we add hats to our co-op factors? Or should we just make sure we always mention it?
We could add it.
We should put it on your sheet at least.
The idea of hats, though, is not specifically always just hats. It's costume changes and things.
I know, but I like talking about it because it's funny. The idea that a game's always better because of it, which is true.
Do you think that gives it an entire letter grade?
I think for us, it does.
Yeah, it really does.
It's part of the formula. Okay, my score. I was procrastinating. What's our lowest score?
F.
I always say that. Okay, what's after that?
D.
What's after that?
C. Come on. Have you been to school in America?
No, I don't go to school. Ooh, this is tough because there's parts I like, but I think I was just disappointed. But we did 100% and beat it, and it wasn't that long, which I appreciated. Like it didn't drag on forever. Oh, I want to give it just a C.
So C+.
No, I want to give it just a C. Not a C+.
I gave it a plus because I was thinking it was just a C, and then I was thinking how many times that I said, "Oh, there's a cool idea." Ooh,
well, I thought of it being a D+, so maybe it will be a C then.
Okay, I think I'm okay with a C.
The cool ideas elevate the frustration gameplay from D to C. That's what I think.
Fair.
Because it was a D in gameplay a lot of the time.
That's true. It's not. This is a weird one. It's a tough recommend, but if you want to,
if you want it, well, we're not going to stop you.
It's not one I would tell someone, no, don't play that. Where there's other games I'd be like, you don't need to play that.
So I think a C
is cool.
Is good then.
But it's not like that. I don't know.
It's interesting.
So you think a C?
Yeah, I think a C is fair. Like that's like a 3 stars basically. So it's like saying like you could enjoy this,
but on our scale, it's like a 2 or
here's
1.5 stars.
No, it's not. Because the way our scale works is once you get to S, the extra S's are just like bullshit. It's not real.
No,
it's just like
see,
it's 5 stars. It's 5 stars, but with some sparkles. Like that's
dude. And the sparkles are sick, dude.
Like 5 stars, like yes, this is absolutely a game you should play, but it gets elevated depending on what kind of game it is. So it's a little bit. Okay. Our scale's a little bit stupid. Okay.
Has 2 factors. If we're not in the S's, then
that's like a
consider
whole other
that they
game,
don't even exist, right? They're like a second level.
Yeah.
But because we're in the C's, it's only 2 away from good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I like that.
It just means that like it's not an amazing game, but it's not the worst game ever, and I think that that's fine. That's like a 3 star. I think it's good. I think it's not bad, but I think it's bad.
I think it's bad, but it's good.
Yeah, that's a C for you. You know, could have done better, could have done worse. I'm not sure if I would recommend it or not. Like that's where C's stand for me. It's the I am not sure if I'm recommending this. I might, but I also might not.
It would be recommended way late in the
list. It'd be recommended with caveats.
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Awesome.
All right.
That's our Haven experience. Let's head into the outro here. The Buried Treasure indie game highlight of the week of the month is a little shout out to a game that we've probably never played, may not ever play, but we're just trying to throw some more options on the table for people. Especially, I feel like, especially in an episode where we just said, I don't know, here's something else you could maybe look into, you know?
What's interesting about what I picked for this week is when we talked about playing this game on Twitter, someone recommended, when we were like, is there any game more romantic than Haven? And someone recommended this game.
Did we say the words romantic?
Is there any game? Yes.
Okay. And they suggested this with the word romantic being the antonym. That's not the word. The descriptor. Adjective. Grammar.
Yes. So the game is that they recommended, thanks to Twitter user Epic Ephra, by the way, for recommending this.
Epic Ephra.
Pode. And when they said this, I was like, is this a word? I don't know.
Yeah, I had to Google the first time for a second, I was like, are they speaking French?
Yeah. So I looked it up, and it's Pode. Pode.
Yo, P-O-D? You remember that?
Pog.
P-O-D.
Pod.
P-O-D.
I don't know. Understand.
Is
that a song?
I feel so alive. For the very first time.
This is where I can feel the years between us.
Dude. Christian fucking metal music. Bad. Very bad song.
Okay, so not pod or P-O-D, it's Pode, P-O-D-E. I mean, maybe it's pod, and the E is silent. It's out on Switch, Steam, and PlayStation 4 right now. It was released in 2018 and published and developed by Henchman and Goon. Essentially, it's this cute little co-op puzzle exploration game about a rock named Boulder and a fallen star named Glow traveling together through a magical mountain, solving little puzzles. It looks really cute. We watched the trailer because we're like, what is this? I think it looks fun. And if you're into, apparently it's romantic. Maybe not. I mean, maybe it's opposites attract kind of romance, you know? It's cute. I like the idea of it. I like puzzle exploration games in co-op. So check it out. We might check this out if we get some time. So that's Pode. P-O-D-E.
Pode.
Pode. Hey, you want to play Pode?
Not a romantic name sounding.
No, it's not.
Pode.
Like, what does it mean? I think it's based off of I think what
Podunk?
Was it? It's Norwegian. It's Norwegian inspired art and culture. So it might be a Norwegian word.
Sweet.
Let's see if it is.
Pode.
So it might be pode.
Graft.
To graft. Like
graft.
To be grafted onto something?
Yeah.
So the star and the rock come together at the end?
That's what pode that means in Norwegian. Pode. It means graft.
Fascinating stuff.
So you learn a little something new on our podcast every time you listen, folks. Don't forget we're educational. We're in the educational section.
Should
of
we
the
add a
podcast.
word? We learn a new word every day at the end of our...
No.
That sounds kind of fun, like a new co-op-esque word.
Word of the day is a poda.
This is the German word for armchair.
That's true, we do.
Dude,
we kind of do.
Do you remember?
Do you remember
what it's called?
No. The German words just fly right out of my brain. What was it? Shitche?
What the... That one didn't even sound German.
It didn't sound Chinese. What was it?
I'm not telling you, dude. If you
Please
gotta
tell
back
me,
and listen.
dude. Tell me, bro.
No.
What if our listeners don't remember?
That's their fault for not taking good notes at our lesson, at our
There's
learning
going to be
segment.
a test at the end of all these podcasts.
At the end of Saves Together, there'll be a test
on
of
all the words you
words.
learned.
Anyways, Grace, could you please tell me where I can tell them where to find us on the internet?
You can find us on our website at savetogether.club, where you'll find links to our social media and our episodes. And you can also follow us over on Twitter and Instagram at Saves Together for updates.
We have a Ko-fi.
Is it
Ko-fi?
Co.fi? Yeah. And
it's not co.fi, it's co-fi.
Yes, it is. Oh.
.fi.
Listen, I don't know anything. Go on Twitter. It's linked on there.
Ko-fi Saves Together. And you don't have to do that, but like we appreciate it and stuff. It's kind of cool.
Appreciate it.
I've set it up now so I'll get notifications for some emails because I realized we have an email address on our website. We have Ko-fi, but the notifications go to an email. And like...
Yeah, if you want to send us questions, you can do that.
savetogetherpod@gmail.com.
But not...
Buddha.
savetogetherpod@gmail.com.
I'm sorry. I think that's funny. It's not funny because it's Norwegian. It's just... It's funny putting that in the podcast. Okay.
Yeah. Comedy is worth... I love when you have to explain the joke.
Yeah, that makes it funnier. Exactly. Thank you. You can email us and we will maybe answer a question if it's a good one. Do your best.
What would they even ask? What are you foreseeing they ask us
Maybe
about?
they ask for recommendations. I don't know.
Or ask us anything. Ask us about
Not
foreign
anything.
words. Ask us about math problems
Ask
you're
me
having.
what my favorite word is. I will tell you.
Oh yeah, ask us what our favorite words are.
I won't tell you until you ask.
You can ask about like pets that we used to have in our lives. You could ask about
Food. We love talking about food.
Yeah, that's why we have a whole section called the snack cabinet.
I didn't know that's what it was called, but good to know.
Well, do you know all of our recurring segments that aren't
I don't need to know. It's okay.
Well, we've got Larry Daring's game pairings. We've got Craig's Halloween closet. We've got Grace's library, which we don't do enough. Would you like to do one?
Oh my God. Grace's library. I forgot about that.
Grace's library.
No.
We need intro music for all these little segments. The snack cabinet, I think, could just be like a cabinet. Like
I think it should be like, ba-ba-ba.
I think snack cabinet should be like, Mom, we're out of Cheerios.
Cheerios aren't a snack. They're a goddamn part of your daily breakfast.
You reach your fist into that thing, you come out, you just go...
Oh, that's how I eat every cereal, except the cereal I eat. I like eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch that way. When I was in college and high school and I would go to work, I worked at a restaurant, I would come home and I would eat Cinnamon Toast Crunch out of a bag and it was the best.
Dude. Cereal, you're a dry guy. That's good to know. Cereal has two forms. It has its classic form,
I'm
and
a
then
dry guy.
and it has its like new age form.
When you call me a dry guy, I just think of a shy guy. Like, oh, you're a shy guy. All right, good to know.
Yeah, you're a dry guy. All
right.
It's cereal rules. If you want to talk cereal,
get on our cereal podcast.
Cracklin' Oat Bran. Let me tell you about this. It's coconut. It's
no wonder
dense,
you like it.
Muesli mix type feeling stuff.
It looks terrible.
It looks awful. It is definitely a grandma cereal. Because I'm pretty sure the first time I had it was at Grandma, old Betty Purdel's.
My favorite cereal is...
You like the worst. Your favorite.
Yeah,
Tell them your favorite cereal, Grace.
Kashi blueberry clusters.
Yeah.
I've been eating that for literally 8 months
She
straight.
eats the same cereal only. She doesn't know how to eat any other cereal, and when she does, she
There's
literally
no other
throws
cereal
up.
to eat in this world.
She spits it out. She goes, I don't want this. It's not Kashi blueberry cluster boys. Ugh, you offend me.
All right, well,
You're not ever coming on my cereal pod.
Check out Kashi Blueberry Flakes. Get back to me on what you think. Email me at, what is it?
What do you think it is?
savetogether.pod.
Yeah, that's how email addresses work. savetogetherpod@gmail.com.
Let me know what you think, okay? Thanks. Bye. Okay, well, that's what I was asking. Yeah, answer my question.
The water otter. Dude, Asha wants a water otter.
Asha wants a water. Dude, I love Oshawott
Oshawot's a water
That
otter.
just made me want to play Pokemon, but I won't.